What's going on, guys? Out here at Tower Ridge Disc Golf in Simsbury, Connecticut, and we're gonna hit you with an in the bag video today. Everyone's always asking me what I carry, why I carry it, how long I've been carrying, all these things, so we're just gonna get right into it. First, we'll start with this bag. Look at this thing. These are by far the finest bags on the market. Pure. They're from Estonia. It's just classy, you know? It's a good looking bag. You got plenty of room up top here, huge putter pouch, room for your stuff, plenty of room for water and towels, and you know, you got the funky little thing here that, you know, holds a grabber, or you can put an umbrella in there, and you know, just anything you're going to need out on the course is all right here. So let's get into what is actually in this bag. We'll start at the top, work our way through. As you can see, I'm kind of a weirdo. I throw orange discs. You'll find there's a little bit of yellow in there, but it is what it is. So we'll start off slow here, right in the front. And there's actually 3 different polecats in the bag. Usually I carry 2 polecats. I've been working this new Halo Marm into the bag, so plus it's winter time here in Connecticut, so you got to go a little bit softer. This one I'm just kind of beating in, but you know, there's nothing like a crisp Halo polecat. My go-to putter, which is going to sound strange to most people, but I can't get enough of the polecat. It's my everyday putter. Pretty much anything inside of 150 feet, I'm going to be going to the polecat, unless, you know, I got to go to the left, and then, you know, we'll get into the Toros for that. But this guy here, this is a Circle Stamp, 1994. I've loved this disc since day one. Literally the first discs I bought in Jason's basement over there on Marshall Street, before Marshall Street was even Marshall Street, I guess. I mean, there was the name of the road, but either way, I got a couple discs, and one of them was a white Circle Stamp polecat. Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good polecat. And then this is a G-Star. Again, it's winter here. It's a good disc for the winter. It's a good plastic for the winter, really. So a lot of the things you see in here, they might cycle through. They might be something that I'm only throwing in the winter, and I might throw a different one in the summer. But the molds that are in here and the discs that are here, this is pretty much what I'm throwing on a daily basis. So to complement the polecat, everybody's got to have a Sonic. Again, right off the bat, you guys probably think I'm crazy because I'm all about the polecat and the Sonic, but there's a lot to be said for a Glidey 1-speed. So the Sonic is just, I mean, it's a point and shoot. It's a disc you want to play catch with. I'm playing catch with the basket, and you know, hopefully the basket knows how to catch. I carry an XT0. I went with a 0 because it, you know, I've used a lot of putter through the years. The 0 is a true 0-0, like a polecat. You know, it's kind of point and shoot. I use it for like a big turnover. I'm not a forehand guy, so you know, it kind of gets up and it just floats into place. It's really, really nice. I tried bagging a few of them and putting with them, but I just keep leaning back on the polecats. So I keep this in the bag for those times when I just need something that's just going to go up and kind of float back down. So there's the 0 is for that. You got the nice little team wings there. Then I'd be lost without my Toros. Again, this is wintertime, so I got my Soft Pro, which the Soft Pro is really more of a winter one for me. For anyone else, I would say, you know, if you have approach shots that, you know, are on a hillside, or, you know, you just want it to sit right where it lands, the Soft Pro is where it's at. And that applies to all the putters. You know, they make the Soft Pro for pretty much everything. But the Soft Pro, and then this is a Gummy Champ. It's the first run of the Gummy Champs. I love it. I bag this one summer and winter. In the summer, it's this and a Halo. This guy just sits a little bit better. It's a lot tackier when it's warm out. So you got the 2 Toros in the bag at any given moment. The Rat, I really want to love the Rat. The Rat is, in a lot of people's opinion, Innova's most underrated mold. You know, a lot of people, before the Toro came out, they were trying to compare the Rat to the Zone, and they're like, well, the Rat's not a Zone, and I want a disc that flies more like a Zone. But the Rat kind of is like a Zone. It's like a beat-in zone, you know, that zone that you lean on when you're trying to go straight. That is the Rat. I mean, the Toro, like we said before, the Toro it's money. Like I will spike this thing in 250 and in, and if you really gotta shape something, it's so dependable, wind, whatever. But the Rat is, it's just straight, it's reliable, it's got a nice fade, not a lot of fade like the Toro, but it's there. I would highly recommend anyone trying a Rat, because it really is a good mold. The only other thing up top here, this one quite hasn't made it into the bag yet. We recently got these stamps with the Tower Ridge logo on them. This is a T-Bird. It's super swirly and really fun, and I want to love it. I'm not sure if I'm ready to replace my T-Birds yet, so I'm leaving it up here on the top and, you know, kind of throwing some funsies with it, getting used to it. Right now it kind of flies like my AJ, but we'll get into that in a minute. So we'll throw this guy over here for a second. Now let's start off on the lower end, the Wombat. If you're a noodle arm, if you're a new player, hell, even if you're experienced and you know you need something that's going to flip up and go straight, you got a tunnel shot in the woods, 200-foot tunnel shot. The Wombat is the disc for that shot. A lot of people think the Wombat's too flippy. Maybe you just need to release the Wombat different, but a Wombat, it's a Wombat 3, but a Wombat thrown properly is the ultimate tunnel shot. So again, everyone needs to carry a Wombat with them. Mako is just a wonderful mold. This is a new one. The one that I had a star one in there is getting a little too flippy. It happens in time. So thankfully, you know, Innova gave me a new one to replace the old one, and so far it's money. I like it. Again, it's a straight flyer. It's another 0-0 disc. It's really kind of point and shoot. You know, if you want to turn it over, it'll turn over. If you want to give it a little bit of hyzer, it's going to go where you tell it to go. And you'll see that, you know, I mean, I'm kind of old. You know, I don't have the strength I used to have. I don't have the speed I used to have. So I do rely a little bit more on some understable stuff because it's just how it is. And I don't forehand. I throw them, what, 2, 3 forehands a month. So to get, you know, a disc that'll do what I tell it to do is wonderful. And the Mako is one of those discs. Rock 3, oddly enough, I like a Rock 3 in the winter, but in the summertime, I'm all over DX rocks. I don't know why, they just fly better in the summertime than a Rock 3, in my opinion. So it's a great utility disc. Again, it's another one of these, it does what it tells you. You know, it says it's an 03. We all know that rocks and Rock 3s are not 03s. Much straighter, much more controllable mid-range, and these guys have been around forever. There's a reason everyone's bagging rocks and Rock 3s. Gator. I love this Gator. I just saw a second ago, I was like, oh, I'm all understable stuff, but you need stability sometimes. You're thrown into the wind. A lot of people think G-Star is less stable. And in some cases it is. You know, we'll get into, when I get into my drivers, I have a couple G-Star ones that are intentionally less stable than their Star counterparts. But for whatever reason, I don't know how this one came out, but this G-Star Gator is beefy. And it's just, I don't know, it does what it's supposed to do. It's so reliable, it's not even funny. I'm more of like, I got some big hands, so like, again, I got the Rock 3, but for the most part, I don't necessarily go with the 3 molds. For those of you who don't know, the difference between the T-Bird and the T-Bird 3 is, the rim. So for me with the Gator, I like the Gator more than I like the Gator 3. If you have smaller hands and you want the stability of a Gator, try the Gator 3. It's probably going to work out nice for you. But yes, this G-Star Gator is great. Now we're going to get into some 7 speeds. 7 and 9 is really where I live most of the time. They're very versatile discs. So really I got 4 7 speeds in here, but it's only 2 different discs. I have the Hawkeye, which is in G-Star. It's a flippy Hawkeye. It'll flip to flat and then kind of coast along, just turning the whole way. And we all know there's spots where that needs to happen. This guy here, it's basically a Hawkeye, but it's an old Innova made FD. This is the Night Strike 2. It's just a really straight flying 7-speed. So you can rely on it. You can get it to hyzer if you need to. I have the T-Birds in there for that, but so this one's going to be crazy straight, and this one's going to flip over. Hawkeye and Innova made FD. Now for the T-Birds. It's a very similar situation, just a little bit more stability. And some of this is probably in my head. I could probably get this to do anything that this will do, but I just feel like, I don't know, it works for me. So this is an old 3-line AJ T-Bird. It is flippy. It's not as flippy as the Hawkeye. It's gonna push longer while still turning, which again, like you're playing in the woods, there's shots that you need the Hawkeye, there's shots that you need the T-Bird, because you're gonna get the dependable fade, even though it is flippy out of the hand. And then this is last year's Tour Series, the Vinyl Makala Halo Champion T-Bird. These things are absolutely wonderful, so dependable. I haven't thrown his new one yet, the new swirly one. I'm sure it's going to be very similar to this. But again, in range, I can turn it over. I got a tight fairway. I know it's going to come back. It's not going to burn over. It is a great mold. Halo Champion is it's great. It feels wonderful. I absolutely love it. Now we'll get into some of the 9 speeds. Like I said, 7 and 9 is kind of where I live most of the time. Roadrunner, if you don't bag a Roadrunner, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't talk anymore, because you should bag a Roadrunner. Like, everyone says the Roadrunner's, great, oh, it's too flippy, it's too this, it's too that. But there's a reason Barsby bags Roadrunners, there's a reason a lot of pros bag Roadrunners. They're not as flippy as their numbers might allude to. Try different plastics. Look when you're shopping, come to a shop like this where you can look at the disc, where you can compare parting lines. Find yourself a nice stable Roadrunner and you will absolutely love it. This one is Star. Again, it's flippy to straight, and in certain situations, if you have, like there's a hole here, hole 17, if you know it, you know what I'm talking about, but right out of the box, you need a long, like pushing hyzer. It can never dump, but it's got to hold that line the whole way. And the Roadrunner is really good at that, because if you give it that hyzer, it's not gonna turn over. It's a good disc. This Sidewinder, very similar to the Roadrunner. I find it'll push longer, and being Halo, it does have a dependable fade, so it's not, you know, the Sidewinder that's gonna burn over. You know, maybe you've thrown a DX Sidewinder and you're like, why the heck would I throw a Sidewinder? In the Halo plastic, they're absolutely dreamy. And this guy's got like a really cool stamp. It's the big sexy hot dog stand. This is a great disc. Again, another 9-speed. I got a Valkyrie. This guy here's been with me for a long time. It's a PFN, chalky. Valkyrie's a Neg 2.2. The modern Valkyrie is a great disc, don't get me wrong. This feels like it's a different mold. It's blunt on the edges, very similar to the way a Firebird or a Thunderbird is blunt. Where the newer Valkyries really come to a point, and the newer Valkyries to me are a little bit flippier. So maybe this is a Valkyrie X, I have no idea. I just know that I love this disc and it's not going anywhere. It's a real workhorse. In the Firebird slot, in the overstable, I bag the G-Star Firebird, and people make fun of me again for bagging the G-Star Firebird, because why do I want something that is supposed to be so stable but isn't so stable? It's because it's a great feel in the hand and it's dependable. Dependability in a disc is more important than anything else. Like, if you know what that disc is going to do, then you can get it to do what it's supposed to do. In the spot where I need a really beefy Firebird kind of disc, I actually lean on the Draco. This is, I think this is first run Color Glow. If you see, I don't know if you can see from there, but this guy is bored flat. It's just 100% beef. And again, it's a dependable disc. 10 speeds. Now I don't know why I don't have a Gorgon in the bag. I go in and out with the Gorgon. Right now, apparently there's no Gorgon, there's only the 110 speed. This is a beast. And technically, back same with the Valkyrie that I got in here. This, you know, the Valkyrie that I said, oh, maybe it's a Valkyrie X because it's different than the new Valkyrie. This beast is certainly different than the new beasts. And this would be what they call a Beast X. It's an extra gummy champion plastic, which wasn't called extra gummy at the time. It was just candy, I think they called it. It actually has like little bubbles in the rim, which probably, you know, nowadays this probably would have been an F2, but I bought this disc when it came out in late 2002, early 2003. And you know, we didn't know speeds back then. We just knew that this disc was much faster than anything we've had before. And I mean, my first Ace disc is this. It's just really dependable. If you know the old Buffinville layout out there in Oxford, Mass, Charlton, the old hole 5, which is currently the T-pad for hole 2, but the pin was, I don't know, I want to say maybe 356 straight up the dam, and this was just a Anheuser out over the dam, right in. Yeah, I love me a good beast. And then I jump right to the turns. Again, just like some other molds, I'm bagging 2 turns. If I have to go long, if I got a big open hole, as long as I don't have a big headwind, I am leaning on the turn a lot. The turn is probably the greatest distance driver for anyone with a noodly arm. If you can throw, you know, this speed of a disc, what are these, 12 speeds? Yeah. If you can throw a 12 speed, you should be throwing a turn. This one here is G-Star. It's a little bit flippier. It's a little harder to control, but if you get it right, it's perfect. It actually, you can see it says Juliana here. It's JK on the front. This actually came out of Juliana Corver's bag, which is kind of fun. And then this is just a star. The turn's another one of those discs that, like, I have a lot of turns. At any given moment, there might be a halo turn in the bag. There might be a star turn. Yeah, I'm kind of a weirdo like that. And then I got a little bit of wind coming. I got to get some distance. I'm bagging the destroyer. But again, I'm not this fast arm guy that's, you know, going to take a destroyer and go forever. So I have this nice flippy 3-line AJ. And yes, I know it's pink, and everything else is not pink, but it's fine because this one's yellow, and, you know, yellow and pink and whatever. But yeah, this guy here is also a workhorse. It's a great distance driver. I have no business throwing a halo destroyer, but because this is a flippy destroyer and it's going to be more overstable than, you know, one of my turns, when it comes to a windy day where I need distance, I'm going to get it out of this if I'm throwing into a headwind. Very similar. This is an Emperor. Yes, this is an Emperor. So Millennium, Infinite Emperor. I love the hamburger stamp. It's basically one of the older destroyer molds. It's not as stable as, you know, a 21 Calvin or something of that nature, but it's going to be more stable than the AJ, and it's very reliable. I will even use this in some short situations where, you know, the woods tells me that I got to go up this way, and that thing better come back. So that's my Emperor. It's a good mold. Yeah, but basically another destroyer. And then a utility disc. This thing is borderline ridiculous, but I find myself leaning on it a bunch. It doesn't look it, but it is a halo. It was actually a pink and white halo. It's from the first run of the Halo Juggernauts. At the time, I had nothing pink in the bag, so I dyed the disc yellow, figuring the pink would turn orange, the center would turn yellow, but it was such a light pink that the whole disc is yellow, and then I, dyed my name on it. So good luck stealing this one if I lose it. It'll be pretty obvious. But the Juggernaut is probably, well, it's definitely the most overstable 12-speed that Innova makes. Why do I carry it? Because there are situations when I'm in the woods and I get kicked off fairway to the left. My only way out is this way, but the basket's way down there. I can take this thing, and I know that if I put this thing up in the air in a spike, it's so stable that now it's just going to coast down the fairway. So I'm throwing it this way, but it's going that way. And it's kind of a get out of jail free card. Like a Rolo would be if I was on the fairway to the right and I had to get out, because again, I don't throw forehands. That's what the Juggernaut is for me. And that's what's in the bag. It's just a bunch of orange Innova. It works for me. Let me know what you think. Let me know what is stupid in here. Because to me, none of it is, but to you, maybe you're wondering why anyone would carry some of this stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.